Hi, I'm Rasmussen. Do you like to hear God stories? I want to share with you a God story. A little different maybe than other God stories you've heard, but nevertheless this is a true one. The license plate that we have on our car, it's a 1997 Buick Park Avenue, and we have a Jesus license plates on it. Okay, had that for a number of years. And what had happened, well, the plate was in excellent condition when we got it. And went through a car wash, and the car wash bent the license plate, so you really couldn't see the J. You could see part of the E, but it was bent over, and you couldn't see Jesus on the license plate. So I just attempted to bend it back, and you can't bend back a license plate just while it's attached to your car. Now, I had two screws holding on the license plate on the top, okay, and you gotta know me, that's hard work to get a screwdriver and unscrew two screws and take a license plate off a car, put it on a piece of concrete or hardwood floor, concrete driveway, and beat the back of it to where the license plate is level again, where you could read it. I'd been meaning to do that. I had full intentions of doing that when the mood struck, but weeks and months and months and months went by. I think it was that way for, I don't know, a year or so. Well, one day I got a phone call from my sweetheart, Kathleen, my wife. She says, honey, I've been in an accident, but I'm okay. I said, good. Now, we got to stop here a second before I go further. What you just saw there on the lens was a hang-around fly. I'm filming in a little remote public access place on the Betsy River just south of Benzonia, Michigan, while we're on vacation. And I got a bunch of hang-around flies here, so if you see something on the screen, you'll know it's one of those hang-around flies just pestering. Okay. So anyway, I get this phone call from my sweetheart, Kathleen. She says, honey, been in an accident, but I'm okay. I'm not hurt. I said, well, what happened? She said, well, I was just going down the road, and there was a lot of traffic, and before I knew it, some guy pulled out in front of me, and I slammed on the brakes, but I still hit the back of his car. I said, okay, well, she said, I wasn't at fault, it wasn't my fault. I said, well, I believe you, that's okay, but how much damage is done to the car? And she said, well, I don't think any damage has been done. Okay, she said, I got out and I looked, and it looks like there's no damage to the car. I knocked out his rear driver's side tail light and a little bit of the chrome attached to it, but he looked at it and explained the situation and said, well, if you don't mind, then I'll give you my contact information and you can do whatever you feel to do if you feel you need to do it. But he said, I'm okay. I live from out of state and I'm in a rush down here to see somebody in the family, and this is not going good at all. This day is getting worse now that this happened. I'm so sorry. I apologized. And she said, well, let's just forget about it. My husband said it's okay. So there's one of them hang-around flies. Just never know about them hang-around flies. And so where was I? My train of thought got sidetracked there. I do not like hang-around flies. So I said, okay. So she comes home, and so I go out and I check over the car, and yeah, there's a little bit of paint on the front bumper there of our car, but no big deal, that'll come off. But what I notice is I look at the license plate, okay? And the license plate is even. You can see J and you can see the E. It's flat. You can read the license plate easily. And I looked at where she hit this guy in the rear end, and it's like it hit perfectly right in where it needed to hit on that license plate, and the impact bent it back in, okay? And I just had to laugh, and I says, oh God, You are so cool. Because evidently that was bugging you bad. Got a hang-around fly on the lens. Okay, well, we'll let him live until this testimony's done. So anyway, the way I figured is God got kind of upset with me procrastinating. You know, this is his name, and we're putting it out there. So it might be a blessing to others or a witness or however God might want to use it. And so I'm just so busy I can't undo 2 screws and straighten out Jesus. And so he's got to do the job for me, you understand? That's just how that all goes. And he did it. And he spared my wife from an accident. And he did it effortlessly. But you got to know here, this is not the end of the story. I get a hold of the guy, okay, call him up that evening. Said, I'm Kathleen's husband, you know, the husband of the guy who, husband of the car that you pulled out in front of earlier today. He said, oh man, I'm so sorry, I apologize for that. He said, my head was in a million places. He said, I thought the road was clear, but he said, I pulled out there in front of traffic and didn't see her in time. And so it could have been worse. He said, you want me to make it up to you? Whatever it'll cost. I said, no, I didn't do anything. I said, you want to hear a funny story? He said, yeah, I could use a funny story about now. I said, let me tell you about this license plate. And I told him the license plate story. And he chuckled a little bit. Didn't get nearly the chuckle out of it that I had telling it, but it was so funny, I thought, the way it ended. And so we got to be a witness somehow, some way. So that's the Jesus story from my perspective.